Your life is not ruled by chance, poverty, or cruel fate. It is ruled by the invisible sentences you repeat in the quiet corners of your mind. And if you have ever felt that money slips through your fingers, no matter how hard you work, then this moment is your turning point, because the universe has been waiting for you to realize that every word you speak is a seed that enters the soil of infinite intelligence and must grow according to its kind. So listen closely now, while the old story of lack dissolves and the new story of divine abundance begins to write itself through you. For you were never created to chase survival, but to command prosperity through harmony with the laws that never fail. The world mirrors your inner decree with perfect obedience, and when you speak of struggle, you carve struggle into your tomorrow. Yet when you bless your path with words of supply, you invite unseen allies to rearrange circumstances in your favor. And this is why some people rise beyond odds, while others remain bound to cycles that seem impossible to break, not because heaven favors one and rejects another, but because the spoken word is the scepter of the soul, and most never lift it with. You may remember moments when an unexpected opportunity appeared just as you dared to hope, or when loss followed a season of fear-filled language, and these memories are not coincidence, but evidence of a divine pattern that operates without rest, shaping form from faith, molding substance from suggestion, and turning imagination into reality with silent precision. The secret of divine abundance is not hidden in vaults or reserved for the chosen few. It lives in the present tense of your speech, because the mind is a magnetized field, and your words are the current that determines what flows toward you, whether wealth that liberates or debt that enslaves, whether peace that heals or worry that exhausts. When you declare that money is scarce, you announce a decree that echoes into invisible realms. Yet when you calmly affirm that supply is limitless, you open doors that human reasoning cannot locate, and these doors open not through strain, but through serene expectancy, like flowers unfolding when the sun has fully risen. You were designed to cooperate with a power greater than effort, and this power answers not to desperation, but to conviction, not to pleading, but to praise. And as you continue listening, your old patterns are already loosening their grip, even if you cannot yet see the outer evidence, because divine law works first in silence and only later reveals its harvest. There are people who will tell you that words are empty and only action matters, but they speak from a world of appearances while you are being invited into a realm of causes where a single spoken truth can dismantle years of defeat, and where the faintest whisper of faith can outrun the strongest habits of fear. The moment you accept that your vocabulary is a blueprint, you step into authorship of your destiny, and no longer must you rehearse tales of burden or envy those who seem favored, because you are learning that the wealth you seek is not approaching from outside, but awakening from within. Prepared to take shape the instant your words align with the divine rhythm that never withholds its gifts from a mind that dares to claim them. As your awareness deepens, a strange stillness may settle over you, not because anything has ended, but because the universe has paused in anticipation of your next command. And this is the point where many retreat, mistaking the silence for failure, yet in truth, it is the sacred interval in which unseen forces are aligning to honor your spoken expectations. So remain unwavering, even when the world appears unchanged, for divine abundance is often conceived in secrecy before it is born in. You may notice that old fears rise like ghosts at this stage, whispering that nothing is different, that bills remain, that obligations crowd your thoughts, and these whispers are the last defense of a fading pattern that senses its own extinction. For when a belief system collapses, it protests loudly before surrendering its throne. Here lies the suspense that defines every great transformation, because you stand between two realities, the one you have outgrown and the one not yet revealed. And in this corridor of uncertainty, your words become more powerful than ever, shaping the final outcome with breathtaking accuracy. Speak of lack now, and you revive the old story. Speak of supply now, and you crown the new, and it may feel dangerous to affirm abundance while the evidence seems hostile. Yet, this is precisely the act that separates wishful thinkers from conscious creators, those who wait for proof from those who command proof into existence. Consider how often you have rehearsed stories of hardship in the past, repeating them until they hardened into facts, and imagine instead rehearsing stories of divine provision until the universe can no longer ignore their resonance. For repetition is not vain when it is aligned with law. It is a steady drumbeat that summons the unseen into form. There will be moments when nothing shifts outwardly and the suspense tightens around your patience. Yet in these moments, remember that every delay is a divine refinement, stripping your intention of doubt so that when the answer arrives, it arrives complete and enduring, not fragile or temporary. Wealth born of fear dissolves, but wealth born of faith multiplies, and the difference is forged in this hidden season where the soul must decide whether to trust the law or retreat to habit. You are not asked to struggle here, only to remain loyal to the vision you have voiced, to let your words remain generous even when your surroundings appear miserly, to bless even the smallest sign of movement as proof that the invisible machinery has begun its flawless operation. This is the chapter that is rarely told because it contains no applause, only quiet resolve, yet it is the very chapter that determines whether abundance becomes a memory or a milestone, because nothing tests belief like delay and nothing perfects belief like endurance. When the universe hears consistency instead of complaint, it accelerates, not out of obligation, but out of harmony, for law cannot resist alignment, and you are learning to become a tuning fork for prosperity rather than an echo chamber for worry. Let the suspense become sacred rather than stressful, for you are standing on the threshold of a reality that has already been approved in the unseen, and as long as your words remain faithful to your vision, the door cannot remain closed, no matter how silent the hallway feels. When the final unveiling arrives, it rarely comes as thunder, but as a gentle rearrangement of circumstances that seems almost ordinary until you recognize that everything which once blocked you has quietly stepped aside, and in that moment you realize that divine abundance was never a distant miracle, but a loyal response to the authority you finally exercised over your inner language. Opportunities appear where obstacles once stood, ideas flow where confusion lingered, and the sense of strain that used to accompany money fades into a calm expectancy that feels as natural as breathing, for you have ceased begging life and begun blessing it, and life has no choice but to mirror the blessing back in multiplied form. The habit of scarcity dissolves not through denial, but through saturation, by filling your mind so thoroughly with images and phrases of supply that there is no vacant space left for fear to inhabit. And this is how the magnet of wealth is truly formed, not from ambition, but from alignment, not from greed, but from gratitude that anticipates fulfillment before it arrives. You begin to notice that your tone has softened, that your complaints have thinned into silence, that even your private thoughts have acquired a nobler vocabulary, and these changes are not cosmetic, but catalytic, rearranging the architecture of your destiny from the inside outward with flawless efficiency. What once felt like a struggle to maintain positive words now feels like a relief from the old weight of pessimism, because the soul prefers truth to tension and recognizes abundance as its native language. And the more faithfully you speak this language, the more fluently life responds in tangible rewards. You may reflect on seasons when you labored endlessly with little to show for it, and realize that effort was never the missing ingredient, for abundance is not attracted by fatigue, but by faith, and faith is spoken long before it is seen, declared long before it is delivered, trusted long before it is proven. This understanding frees you from envy because you no longer measure yourself against others, but against your own alignment with divine law. And in that alignment, there is no competition, only cooperation with a power that delights in your prosperity as much as you do. The magnet you have become does not discriminate between large and small blessings, for it draws opportunities, insights, connections, and resources with equal ease, weaving them into a tapestry of provision that feels almost choreographed. yet it is simply law responding to language with impeccable loyalty. There will still be challenges, but they no longer intimidate you, for you understand that no condition can outpace the decree of a disciplined mind, and no appearance can outvote a spoken truth that is rooted in spiritual certainty. You have crossed the threshold from hoping to knowing, from wishing to commanding, from surviving to sovereign living, and this crossing is irreversible as long as your words remain aligned with the abundance you have claimed. Let this realization settle not as a fleeting inspiration, but as a permanent posture, for every sentence you speak from this day forward is a brushstroke on the canvas of your future, and you have finally chosen to paint with the colors of divine supply rather than the shadows of doubt, ensuring that the story you tell about money becomes the reality you inhabit. If you are benefiting from our topics, please subscribe, like, and turn on the bell notification so you can see our new videos early.